threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
The United States immigration system is broken, and nowhere is this more evident than in how we handle illegal immigrant criminals. Time and time again, we see dangerous individuals enter our country illegally, commit heinous crimes, and, when caught, are simply deported back to their home countries, free to return another day. This cycle of lawlessness is not just a policy failure. It is a fundamental betrayal of justice, public safety, and national security. Instead of merely sending these criminals back, the U.S. should enforce the ultimate deterrent, the death penalty for the worst offenders. Additionally, we must hold accountable the leaders, officials, and policymakers who have allowed this dangerous revolving door to continue unchecked. The consequences of their inaction are measured in American lives lost, families torn apart, and communities left in fear. Deportation is not justice, it's an invitation for repeat crimes. The idea that deporting illegal immigrant criminals is a solution is laughable. Many of these individuals come from countries with weak law enforcement, corrupt governments, or cartel-controlled regions. When they are sent back, they face little to no punishment, and in many cases, they find their way back into the U.S. through the very same broken border policies that failed to stop them the first time. Statistics show that criminal illegal immigrants are repeat offenders. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement regularly arrests individuals who have been deported multiple times for serious crimes, including murder, rape, child trafficking, and drug smuggling. If a person has already demonstrated a willingness to violate U.S. laws, why should we assume they will suddenly respect international borders? The truth is, deportation does not prevent crime. It simply relocates the problem temporarily. Meanwhile, the burden falls on innocent Americans who must live with the consequences of their government's failure to enforce real justice. The death penalty as the ultimate deterrent. Some may argue that execution is too extreme, but let's be clear. When an illegal immigrant commits a violent crime, especially murder, rape, or crimes against children, they have forfeited their right to mercy. Why should the American taxpayer foot the bill for these criminals to be housed in our prison system, given free meals, medical care, and legal representation, only for them to eventually be deported and possibly return? Implementing the death penalty for the most egregious offenders would send a clear message. If you come to this country illegally and commit a violent crime, there will be no second chances, no loopholes, and no opportunity to reoffend. This is about protecting the American people first, rather than worrying about the so-called rights of those who have no respect for our laws in the first place. Other countries do not hesitate to enact swift and severe justice against foreigners who break their laws. The U.S. must adopt the same approach. We cannot continue to be the only nation that bends over backward to accommodate criminals at the expense of its own citizens. Holding leaders accountable, the true culprits behind this crisis. The illegal immigrant crime crisis did not happen by accident. It is the direct result of weak leadership, open border policies, and an unwillingness to enforce the laws already in place. Politicians who support sanctuary cities, refuse to enforce immigration laws, and tie the hands of law enforcement officers must be held accountable for the chaos they have created. These leaders have blood on their hands. Every American who has been raped, murdered, or harmed by an illegal immigrant criminal is a victim not just of the perpetrator, but of the government officials who allowed them in and let them stay. So how do we hold them accountable? First, any public official who refuses to enforce immigration laws should be removed from office and, in cases where their negligence leads to serious crimes, face criminal charges themselves. If a business owner can be sued for negligence, why should a politician be immune when their policies result in real harm? Second, cities and states that act as sanctuaries for illegal immigrants should lose all federal funding. No taxpayer money should go to any jurisdiction that prioritizes the welfare of criminals over the safety of law-abiding citizens. Finally, the American people must wake up and stop electing politicians who put ideology over safety. Voters must demand stronger border security, stricter penalties, and real consequences for those who put their communities at risk. Conclusion: A nation that refuses to defend itself will not survive. America is at a crossroads. We can either continue to allow criminals to enter, commit atrocities, and be sent away like misbehaving children, or we can take a stand and implement real justice. The death penalty for the worst offenders and severe accountability for negligent leaders are not extreme measures. They are necessary ones. Deportation is a failed policy that only kicks the problem down the road, while more innocent lives are lost. It is time to put American citizens first. Secure the borders, punish criminals with the full force of the law, and make sure that those in power who have allowed this crisis to unfold are no longer in a position to continue their destructive policies. Justice must not be a revolving door. It must be swift, final, and serve as a deterrent. Anything less is a betrayal of the American people.